Well, despite what The Godfather taught us, most self-respecting mobsters hope all their sons find a legitimate line of work. But one notorious Chicago hitman had no such parental instinct. He pulled his son into the mob, and it cost him his family and his freedom. For the first time ever, you're about to hear from the most important mafia turncoat in recent history, the man at the center of what the FBI called Operation Family Secrets. A few nights a month, patrons pile into this trendy Phoenix restaurant with no idea that the man making their pizza is a member of one of the most notorious crime families in America.
There's our stone oven, a little over 500 degrees.
His name is Frank Calabrese Jr., and his father, Frank Sr., is serving multiple life sentences for killing 13 people while stealing, extorting, and loan sharking millions as a made man in the outfit, the Chicago Mob, notorious since the days of Al Capone. Did he have a signature?
Yeah. When he was killing, he wanted to make sure you were dead. So he loved to strangle you and then cut your throat from ear to ear.
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure.
Seeing this family in this setting, you'd never know that she was once an unwitting mob wife. If somebody asked, what does your husband do for a living, what would you say?
He worked for the city, which he did. Ignorance was bliss for me.
And if you met him on the street, you'd never imagine that within the outfit, he went from respected enforcer to reviled rat by helping the FBI put his own father away for life.
I call myself a lot of things, but I don't call myself a rat. And I'll tell you why, rats run and hide. I don't run and hide, and that's why I'm not in witness protection. I can't run and hide. I'm a cooperating witness, I'm a turncoat, I'm a bad son, whatever you want to call me. But I don't feel that I'm a rat.
But before the turn, he was his father's favorite son in almost every way. You say you were ready to, but never killed.
Correct. I fought a lot, roughed people up, I broke bones.
I can't help but notice that you're sitting with your back to the door.
I need to live my life, and I can't live it every day wondering if one day somebody's going to come in and get me. I'm getting more comfortable with sitting with my back to the door, but I still do like to sit.
Where you can see what's what.
Yeah, but you got that seat first.
To give us a sense of his old life in the mob, Frank Jr. agreed to come back to Chicago, back to the Chinatown area where his father's crew worked.
On the left is Ronnie Jarrett's house. He got gunned down right up here on the right side of the street.
And Elmwood Park, where they lived.
I haven't been back here in a long time, and this is, it's weird. It's weird right now.
Joe, how are you? Yeah, good. How are you?
Cool,
I just
man.
got you on Facebook,
Yeah,
right?
I know, I
That's
saw it.
great.
I'm like,
That's
all
great.
right, man.
You're still over here, huh?
You're like the mayor.
If I go into Chinatown, I might not get a reception like that. In this neighborhood, I will, okay?
They called this the compound, a three-flat with aunts, uncles, cousins packed onto different floors, and on occasion, undercover FBI agents watching out front.
One time as a kid, we were playing out here, and I seen them sitting in the car, and we went over to the car, and they laid down in the car and pretended like they were sleeping.
As a child, Frank Jr. says he only had a vague sense of what his father did for a living. But when The Godfather hit theaters in '72,
Accept this justice as a gift on my daughter's wedding day.
his friends started to make the connection.
And there was a talk in the neighborhood, so it was a lot of talk.
It glamorized your dad's work a little
Exactly,
more. Yeah.
exactly. And you know, that whole thing, you see how my dad was treated from people.
At the height of your dad's earning power, how much money did he have?
I would say around 10 million plus.
In cash?
Yeah.
Just stashed in...
In walls, in car panels, anywhere he could stash cash.
While Frank says he had no interest in joining the outfit, he worshipped his dad. And as he got older, his grooming intensified.
It wasn't a choice. It was like, you need to do this. You're my son. I need you there. My father was a master manipulator.
As a teen, he was sent to collect payoffs from X-rated bookstores. And over time, his father hinted that murder would eventually be part of the game.
He says, if you want to see a friend's a good friend, he says, throw some sheets in the trunk, throw something under it, put some sheets over and pull up and say, hey, do me a favor. I need your help. What? I got some shovels in the trunk. I accidentally ran over somebody. I got to bury him. Will you help me? He says, and tell me how many people go with you. So then you got a good friend.
With both beatings and hugs, Frank Sr. also manipulated his brother Nick into joining the crew. In fact, Uncle Nick was also part of the hit team that killed the Spalatro brothers in a way that inspired this scene from the movie Goodfellas.
My uncle never killed for money. He never killed because he got mad at anybody. He only killed when ordered to.
He admitted on the stand that he wet himself in fear
Yeah.
after his first hit.
My uncle was a tough guy, but he's a nice guy. He has a heart.
But Frank's father wasn't quite so sensitive. On a tour of their old mob territory, he took us to one of the many so-called work garages where his dad and uncle would stash cars, weapons, and torture the occasional enemy.
For some reason, a lot of Chicago guys tortured their victims before they killed them.
But it was a moment in another garage that stands as the most chilling symbol of Calabrese's dysfunction. After years of faithful service, a frustrated Frank Jr. had stolen from his father, was trying to pay him back, but it wasn't fast enough for the old man.
And when I walked in and he closed the door, all of a sudden it hit me. He made me park my car somewhere else. He was real nice to me, and he turned around and I seen that 1,000-yard bloodshot stare, glassy-eyed stare in his eyes. And that's when he pulled around, grabbed me, and stuck the gun in my face, and he said, "If you're going to disobey me and I can't control you, I'd rather have you dead."
And when he met the woman he'd marry, his father forced her to sign a blank prenup, just one indication of his iron fist.
I was intimidated, but after I met him, I'm like, he seems nice, and that's the sociopath part of it, he seems real nice, and then once you're in the family and, you see what he does to the family and that umbrella effect, how he, what he does affects everybody.
The more Frank Jr. learned about the outfit and his father's controlling ways, the less he liked both. And after starting a family, Frank Jr. began looking for a legitimate way to pay back his dad and break away for good. So he started a small car detailing business.
And we had the detail shop.
But it wasn't long before Frank Sr. tried to muscle his own son for a piece of the action. But the feds were watching, and with a witness from the auto shop, had enough to swoop in with indictments.
This is the house I got arrested in right here. And it was ironic because I lived right across the street from an immigration judge.
When the Calabrese crew was finally arrested, his father's hypocrisy was truly revealed. After years of preaching family loyalty, he was purely out for himself.
He tells me, "All right, I'll tell you what, you know the money you owe me?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "I'll call it even. You plead guilty for me too." Here's my father that's supposed to be a man's man. And I'm thinking, I got a son at the time. I would never do that to my son.
So Frank Jr. decided that prison would be his way out of the outfit and away from his father. He pled guilty to racketeering, agreed to serve 5 years, but in a twist of fate, his father was transferred to his same prison and began the same old manipulation. But for the first time in his life, Frank Jr. decided to take control.
I think about when he was in the cafeteria with Rocky, talking about killing guys and how Rocky used to kill guys.
You'll see how Operation Family Secrets unfolded
I just wanted it to be over.
and how it tore the Calabreses apart
Very tough.
when Nightline continues.